everyone! Today I'm bringing you 5 on-the-go breakfast ideas which also doubles up as a weekly plan so that you can reuse some leftovers if you're someone who takes their breakfast to work or just for any occasion when you want to take your breakfast with you on the move. Also, the prep can always be done the night before, it doesn't have to be done on the morning of that day. So Monday's breakfast or idea number 1 is flapjack fingers and a cherry chia jam pot. To make the flapjacks, first preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. Next, add 1/3 of a cup of melted coconut oil and 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup to a small saucepan on a low heat. Gently warm those 3 together before then adding in 1½ cups of regular porridge oats. Give that a good stir together until it all begins to stick, and then add it into a lined bread or baking tin. Compact it as tight as possible using a spatula and then place that in the oven to bake for 30 minutes or until golden brown. Once it's done, remove it and leave it to cool and then slice it into fingers or squares if you'd prefer. Mine made 8 fingers altogether. Then fill a small pot with some chia jam. I had this cherry chia jam in my fridge. I'll link to my strawberry chia jam recipe down below, which is exactly the same. You can just switch up which fruit you use. And then place that in a box along with a few of the flapjack fingers. I'm not sure why I was being all posh here using a knife. You can definitely dunk the fingers into the jam and scoop it up. It's a much easier way to eat it if you're literally on the move. The flapjack is sweet, but it's not overly sickly sweet. And with the sharpness of the cherry jam, they work really nice together. You can then store any flapjack leftovers in a container in a cool, dry place for up to 5 days. So Tuesday's breakfast or idea number 2 is this hazelnut puffed rice cereal with fresh strawberries. First, preheat the oven to 160 degrees Celsius. Then in a mixing bowl, add 1 tablespoon of hazelnut butter, or you could use any other nut butter, and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and then mix those together until smooth. Next, add in 1½ cups of puffed brown rice and mix it again until it's all coated really well. Tip that out on a lined baking tray, spread it out evenly, and then put that in the oven for around 10 to 15 minutes until it goes slightly crispy. Remove it and then leave it to cool before transferring half of it into a pot. Then fill a small leak-proof pot with some almond milk, and then you can fill the rest of the large box with fresh strawberries or any other fruit that you like. It's obviously a good idea to keep things separated, as otherwise your cereal is going to go all soggy, but this is a great way to take your cereal with you on the go. The recipe makes 2 large portions of cereal, and you can double it to make more, but I find this amount fills 1 baking tray as it is. And then you can store any remainders in an airtight container in a cool, dry place for up to 3 days. They can last longer than this. I just prefer to eat them as soon as possible whilst they're still nice and crispy. Wednesday's breakfast or just idea number 3 is this raspberry and vanilla smoothie yogurt. For this, first slice up some fresh fruit. I used a kiwi and a handful of strawberries. And then next, in a food processor, blend up 1 frozen chopped banana with ½ a cup of frozen raspberries, ½ a teaspoon of vanilla powder or vanilla extract, and then ½ a cup of almond milk until it's smooth. Transfer that into a container, add on the fresh fruits, and then in another small pot add your toppings. I used some of the leftover cereal from the day before, some goji berries and some cacao nibs, but you could use anything that you like. This is a breakfast that really needs to be eaten within the first hour, otherwise the smoothie starts to turn a little bit brown because of the banana, although it doesn't affect the taste at all, and if you can keep it in a fridge, say at work, then it should last a little bit longer. Again, I just put these in separate pots so that the cereal and the other toppings don't go soggy. Then when you're ready to eat it, you can just add them onto the smoothie pot and you can snack on any leftover toppings throughout the day. These stainless steel containers are also great for keeping food both hot and cold. Mine are from Elephant Box and I'll leave a link to them in the description box below. So Thursday's breakfast, or idea number 4, is mustard mushrooms and toast. First, chop up 400 grams of mushrooms. I tend to half any smaller mushrooms and then quarter the larger ones. Then add 1 tablespoon of olive oil to a small pan on a low heat, and then add in the mushrooms. Cook those off until they're done, and then transfer 1/3 into a container. Leave them to cool and then place them in the fridge. To the rest of the mushrooms in the pan, add 1 teaspoon of whole grain mustard and season them with some black pepper. Mix that together really well and then leave it on a very low heat. In the meantime, toast some bread. I used rye bread. You could use whatever you like. You could even leave it as just bread. It doesn't necessarily need to be toasted. Then transfer the mustard mushrooms into a small pot, and if you're toasting the bread, once it's done, add that into the box as well. You could also add some fresh spinach to this if you wanted, but mustard mushrooms on toast is one of my favourite things. Again, I keep them separate so that the bread doesn't go soggy, and then you can just tip the mushrooms onto the toast when you're ready to eat. You can totally prep this the night before and have the mushrooms cold the next day, but again, I find that the stainless steel containers keep them warm for a good while, and it doesn't take too long to prep it in the morning. And then Friday's breakfast, or idea number 5, is these avocado breakfast cups. For this, first quarter 8 cherry tomatoes, then add the leftover cooked mushrooms from the day before into a mixing bowl along with the chopped tomatoes. Add in 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped dill. You could also use basil. Squeeze in the juice from half a lemon and season it with salt and black pepper. Then mix it all together really well. Take 1 avocado, cut it in half, then squeeze out the stone, mash it up until it's soft, and then make a kind of well or dip in the centre. Place those in a container and then top them with the mushroom and tomato mixture. Then slice the other half of your lemon into wedges and add those in too. This is much more of like a savoury brunch type breakfast, which to be honest is my kind of breakfast. It's just so delicious, and mashing the avocado up before adding the filling, it just makes it so much easier to eat everything all together. And also the lemon juice stops the avocado from turning brown too quickly. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it's given you a few breakfast ideas. As always, all of the recipes are written up in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!